I built a house in the Philippines in 2008, and I paid for every hollow block in it. And today, another family lives in that house while I rent a room 4 kilometers down the road. Most men think the mistake in a story like mine was trusting the wrong person. The mistake was made 3 years before that, on a piece of paper I did not read carefully, and the question I want you to sit with is this one. Whose name is actually on the place where you are planning to spend the rest of your life? My name is Walter Grady. I am 87 years old. I was born in Youngstown, Ohio in 1939, and I have lived in Dumaguete City on the island of Negros since March of 2003. That is 23 years. Longer than my marriage back home lasted. Longer than I worked at the plant. Right now, I am sitting in a rented room off a side street near the public market. 4,500 pesos a month. That is about $77. Concrete walls painted a green somebody must have liked once. One window with bars on it. A plastic chair, a ceiling fan that clicks on every third turn because I hit it with a broom handle 2 years ago and never got it fixed. At 5 in the morning, the roosters start. At 5:30, the tricycles start. At 6, the bakery on the corner pulls the pandesal out of the oven and the whole street smells like warm bread. I will tell you the truth. At 87 years old, that smell is still the best part of my day. Here is what I need you to understand before I go one sentence further. Nobody stole from me. There was no scam, no young woman took my money and ran off. That is the story people expect from an old man in the Philippines. And it is not my story. Everything that happened to me happened legally, in daylight, with my full agreement, with my signature on it, and with me smiling in the photographs. That is what makes it worth your time. Quick word before I go further. What I know about living out here, there is more of it than fits in any one video. I gathered the whole of it into a book you can buy in our pinned comment below. The book is the long version. If you want it, it is there. I will not mention it again. In the fall of 2002, I sat at my kitchen table in Ohio with a yellow legal pad and a calculator. I was 63. The plant had gone. My pension came to a little under $900 a month, and my Social Security was going to be about $1,800 more. In Youngstown, that was going to be a small apartment and a used car, and not much else for the rest of my life. Then I read that in the Philippines, a man could live on $1,200 a month. Rent a house for $200, eat fish and rice and mangoes, doctor visits for $5, warm every single day of the year. I ran the numbers 11 times. The numbers were right. The numbers are still right. That is the part nobody believes when I tell this story. The math was never the problem. I came in March of 2003 on a tourist stamp, 30 days. I extended it, then I extended it again, and I kept extending it for years, standing in the Bureau of Immigration office on the corner with a folder under my arm, paying the fees, getting the ACR card, doing it all properly. Later, I put $20,000 into the retirement visa deposit through the Philippine Retirement Authority, the one they call the SRRV. And that money is still sitting in a bank on this island where I cannot touch it. In 2005, I married a woman named Cora. She was 52, a widow, a school teacher, from a barangay up in the hills above Valencia. She had a laugh that filled a room, and a way of correcting my Visayan that made me feel like a boy in the back row. We had 14 good years. I am not going to say a word against her, and there is nothing to say. In 2007, we bought 600 square meters up in Valencia, where the air is cooler. 900,000 pesos, which at the exchange rate that year was a little under $20,000. Over the next 14 months, I built a house on it. 2.4 million pesos. Every peso of it mine, out of the account I brought from Ohio. 3 bedrooms, a concrete water tank, a tiled porch facing east so we could have coffee in the morning and watch the light come up over the sugarcane. I planted a mango tree 12 feet from the porch rail. That tree is taller than the house now. The deed of sale had Cora's name on it. Only Cora's name. I knew that when I signed. My lawyer told me plainly that as a foreigner I could not own land here. And I said, fine, put it in my wife's name. We are married. What is the difference? Cora had a stroke on a Tuesday in June of 2019. She died on the Thursday. She was 66. She left no will. Under the law here, when a person dies without a will, their property goes to their heirs, in an order the law decides. Cora had 2 grown children from her first husband. Within 11 months there were papers, and there was an extrajudicial settlement, and there were meetings I attended where everyone was polite and nobody raised their voice. And at the end of it, the house I paid for and the land under it belonged to her son. He did not do anything wrong. He inherited his mother's property. That is the law, and that is his right. So after 23 years in this country, what did I actually own? Let me answer that, because the answer is shorter than you think, and once you understand why, you will see this whole thing differently. I owned my clothes. I owned a motorcycle I have since sold. I owned $20,000 in a Visa deposit I cannot spend. And that is the entire list. Here is the root of it, and I want to be very clear, because almost every man I have watched go through this got it wrong the same way I did. A foreigner cannot own land in the Philippines. Not some land, not with a good lawyer, not with a long marriage. It is written into the constitution of this country, and it has been that way since 1987. You can own a condominium unit in a building, up to the limit they allow foreigners in each building, which is 40%. You can own the house itself as a structure, separate from the dirt. But the dirt is never yours. It cannot be. So what does a foreigner actually do? He leases. A foreigner can lease private land here for 25 years and renew it once for another 25. That is the tool. That is the correct tool, and it has been sitting there in plain sight the whole time. Now hear the difference, because this is the sharp part. I spent 2.4 million pesos on a house and 900,000 on land in another person's name. Call it 3.3 million pesos, around 70,000 US dollars at the time. A properly drawn lease, notarized, and then registered at the Registry of Deeds, so it is annotated on the back of the title itself, would have cost me lawyers' fees and registration fees. A few tens of thousands of pesos, under $1,000. That one piece of paper annotated on the title follows the land. It does not care who dies. It does not care who inherits. Anyone who buys that land or inherits that land takes it with my lease sitting on it, and I stay in that house until I am 113 years old. I did not have that piece of paper. I had a marriage certificate and a feeling. And there was a second door I never even looked at. A foreigner can buy a condominium unit outright, in his own name, on the title, forever. A unit in a decent building in this town runs 3 to 5 million pesos. That is roughly what I spent on the house. I could have owned something real, in my own name from the first year. I did not want a condo. I wanted a porch and a mango tree. I understand why I chose the way I chose. I am only telling you that the door was there and I walked past it without turning my head. And here is the thing that reframes the whole business, so listen close. The Philippines never asked me to stay. It allowed me to stay. Those are two entirely different things, and every single year that I mix them up cost me something. My visa is a permission. My residency is a renewal. My whole life here sits on top of a stack of paper that other people control. And the moment I started treating that permission like it was mine by right, I stopped protecting myself. You do not move to a country. You visit a country for a very long time. That sounds cold. It is not cold. It is the only frame that keeps an old man safe out here, and I did not learn it until I was 80. There is a whole industry now telling men your age the opposite. Relocation consultants at $1,500 a package. Videos with drone shots of the water and a fellow saying he lives like a king on $1,200 a month. He is not lying about the $1,200. He is just 20 years younger than me, and he has never been in a hospital admitting office here at 2 in the morning. So let me give you what I would do if I were 63 again, sitting at that kitchen table with the yellow pad. 6 things, in order. The first one I call 2 rainy seasons. Rent. Do not buy, do not build, do not lend, do not invest for 2 full years, not 1. 2, because the first rainy season you find charming, and the second one you find out who you really are. June to November here, the rain comes sideways, and the roads flood, and the power goes out, and your knees ache, and the ceiling gets black spots on it. Anybody can love a place in March. The trick is this: rent in the exact neighborhood you think you want to buy in, not a nicer one. You are not testing the country, you are testing that street. The second one is the lease, not the love. If you are going to live in a house on land, get a written lease in your own name for 25 years. Have it notarized, and then, and this is the part men skip, take it to the Registry of Deeds and have it annotated on the title. Notarized alone is a piece of paper in your drawer. Annotated means it is written on the land itself. Here is the trick that would have saved me everything. Before you sign anything, pay for a certified true copy of the title from the Registry of Deeds yourself, with your own hands, and read who is on it and what is already written on the back. It costs a few hundred pesos. Never accept a photocopy that somebody brings to you. The third one is money at home. Keep your main bank account in your own country for as long as you live. Have your pension and your social security land there, and move over only what you need. I use a transfer service on the phone and it takes 2 minutes. And keep what I call the 18-month wall. 18 months of your total living costs, untouched, back home, in your name only. Here is why that number and not 6 months. If you get sick out here and you need to go home, you need a plane ticket, a place to land, and a year of runway while the paperwork catches up. 6 months is not enough time to fix a life. 18 is. The fourth one is the deposit before the doctor. Private hospitals here will generally ask for a deposit before they admit you, not after, before. When Cora had her stroke, I was asked for 50,000 pesos at the desk while she was on the trolley. I had it. Many men do not. So carry a card with a real limit on it and keep cash you never spend. Enroll in PhilHealth, which foreigners here can do because it takes a bite out of the bill. And here is the trick, and it is the one I want you to write down. Buy medical evacuation coverage before you turn 70. Because after a certain age, most of them will not sell it to you at any price. An air ambulance out of here to the United States or Australia is $50,000 to $150,000, cash, up front. There is no negotiating at that hour. The fifth one is the brown folder. Go to the school supply aisle, buy a brown accordion folder for 40 pesos, and build the file that nobody wants to build. Inside it goes a will made under Philippine law. A second one for home if you have property there, your passport, your ACR card, the lease, your bank details, and one page in plain English saying what you want done with your body and who pays for it. Cremation here runs perhaps 30 to 60,000 pesos. Sending a man home in a box runs 6 to 8,000 US dollars once you count everything. Somebody is going to make that decision about you. The trick is to tape a card inside your wallet with the name and number of the person who holds that folder, because the hospital will look in your wallet and nowhere else. The sixth one is 3 names, not friends, names. 3 people on this island who will come at 2 in the morning when you call. One should be young enough to still be alive when you are not. One should be able to speak to a doctor and a barangay captain in the local language on your behalf. Here is what I got wrong for 20 years. I thought I was collecting friends at the bar on the boulevard. 60-year-old men from Perth and Sacramento and Manchester with the same pension and the same stories. Ken went in 2016. Dave went in 2021, I buried 5 of them. Every one of my friends was my own age, and the arithmetic on that is brutal, and I never once did it. Now, let me tell you the part that matters more than any of the paperwork, and then I will let you go. I was welcome here for 23 years, genuinely welcome. I have been fed by families with almost nothing. I have been carried home. When Cora died, there were people in that house for 9 straight nights, cooking, praying, sitting with me. I was never once made to feel unwanted in this country, and I want that on the record. But welcome is not the same as belonging. A man can be welcome in a place for 23 years and still not be from it. The paper knows the difference, even when your heart does not. And the day the paper speaks is always a day when you are too old, or too tired, or too sad to argue with it. That is the whole video right there, if you only take one line. I am not bitter. I want to be clear about that too. I would come back. If you put me at that kitchen table in Ohio in 2002 with the yellow pad and the calculator, I would come back here in a heartbeat. I got 14 years with Cora that I would not have had. I got mornings on that porch watching the light come up over the cane. I got a mango tree I planted with my own hands that is taller than the house now. I just would have spent $1,000 on a lease instead of assuming that love is a legal instrument. Here is what I want you to do tonight. Not this year. Tonight. If you already live overseas, find out today whose name is on the title of the place you sleep in, and go get a certified copy of that title yourself. If you are still at home planning, write down the 18-month number for your own life. Your monthly costs times 18. Look at it. That number is the whole plan. And if you do nothing else, go buy the brown folder. Tell me in the comments where you are and whether you have that folder or not. And if you are already out here somewhere with your name on nothing, say so. There is no shame in it. There are more of us than anybody admits, and I read every single comment. Next time, I am going to tell you what happened to Ken from Perth after he died in the room above the laundry. He had a pension worth £900 a month, and a bank form he filled in wrong in 1998. And because of 3 words on that form, the woman he lived with for 11 years got nothing, and his ex-wife in Australia got everything. It is 1 line on 1 page. I will show you exactly where it is. Until then, read the paper before you sign it. Keep your money where you came from, and remember that a house is not a home, and a welcome is not a country. Artifacts Dale Whitmore Philippines script document MD Lufeng. Premium fuel script TXT Alex, mower 20-year mowers. Document MD Amish Picky Dog script, document MD. Judah-chan Japanese flies, script document MD Suda-chan Hydro. Script document MD Sick Cat. 60-second check. Script document MD Ray. Callahan Thailand Alone TXT Thailand Retirement Script. XAA TXT Cat Head Bunting. Script document MD Vietnam. Retirement script document MD.